So a new Overwatch patch came out on April 22nd. I'm going to start doing Overwatch patch notes because Overwatch is one of my favorite games. So I'm going to read the patch notes to you, just reading them, and then I'm going to go back through and talk about each one and what it means for each rank. If you'd like to read the patch notes for yourself, I will link this page at the top of the description below. But let's get right into it. So Overwatch Retail Patch Notes April 22nd, 2021. So Baptiste. We are reducing Immortality Field's minimum health threshold and Baptiste's area of effect healing output as they are providing too much value overall for closely grouped teams. However, direct impacts with the healing grenade projectiles will now grant additional healing to the impacted ally to keep his single target healing effective with a slightly higher skill requirement. Biotic Launcher, his secondary fire, healing projectile explosion reduced from 60 to 50 health. Healing projectile direct impact now restores an additional 20 health. Immortality Field now protects teammates to a minimum health threshold of 10% maximum health, down from 20%. Diva. Diva's respawn is often intentionally delayed by the enemy team if she is the last player alive from her team and without her mech. This change will make it more dangerous to be near the call mech arrival area for low health heroes. Now when she calls mech, it does 250 damage instead of 50. Echo. This is a change picked up from the community experimental card. Since Echo gains an additional health pool through using her duplicate ultimate, it seemed reasonable that she doesn't need to be healed to full upon it ending as well. The minimum health value is there so she doesn't instantly die to a small amount of damage when it ends. As often with a long duration ultimate, it can be difficult to remember her starting health. Duplicate. When duplicate ends, Echo will return to the health value she had prior to activating the ability, or to 100 health, whichever is higher. Moira. Moira has been underperforming in the support role, even in team compositions and metas where we'd expect her to excel. Reducing the cooldown of Biotic Orb is a significant increase in Moira's potential to quickly adapt to many situations. Biotic Orb. Cooldown reduced from 10 to 8 seconds. Erisa. We're reevaluating the cooldown for Erisa's Halt ability after previous changes have reduced its effectiveness to combo with other heroes. We'll keep a close eye on whether the increased frequency of this displacement ability ends up being too disruptive to gameplay. Halt. Cooldown reduced from 8 to 6 seconds. Reinhardt. Reinhardt has been Reinhardt has been overperforming since his last round of changes. To help increase tank diversity, we are reverting his armor to its previous value while keeping the rocket hammer damage increase for now, as it helps to balance out the reduced crowd control duration of Earthshatter. General change. Armor reduced from 250 to 200. Health/armor total reduced from 550 to 500. Roadhog. Roadhog is a hero who has been underperforming lately with not much changing about him since late last year when he had a more dominant presence. Though the balance of other heroes has indeed shifted around. We're partially reverting the reduction to his damage to help bring him back up to a more effective level. Scrap Gun, primary and secondary fire. Damage per projectile increased from 6 to 6.6. Sombra. Sombra's gameplay usually involves a lot of time waiting for opportune moments to strike and using the translocator to disengage at a safe distance. Speeding up her movement and stealth should help get her back into the action more quickly. Stealth. Movement speed bonus increased from 50 to 65%. So that's the new patch. I'm going to go over it now from top to bottom, going into more detail about what this means. So what they're trying to say here is that when Baptiste shoots the ground, it only heals every target that gets hit only gets healed for 50 HP now instead of 60. So it makes so he's less effective when you have 5 teammates in a big death ball and he's just shooting at the ground at their feet and just healing all of them. It'll be slightly less effective. But then if he gets a direct impact, so if he shoots Reinhardt in the back, Reinhardt will heal for 70 health, where it used to be a direct impact was the same as shooting the ground. So if you hit Reinhardt in the back, you'd get 60. If you shot him in the feet, he'd get 60. But now you can shoot Reinhardt in the back, and he'll get 70, and everyone nearby him or close enough to him will get the 50 instead. So this is really, really important for higher ranks. At lower ranks, it's tough. Everything with Baptiste is tough in the whole low rank versus high rank differential because Baptiste is a very skillful hero in that you have to be able to aim to do damage. You have to be able to aim to be able to heal. And even the lobbed shots that he does with his projectiles even for people who are in low ranks, they struggle with getting the trajectory correct on those types of shots, especially at long ranges. So Baptiste is in one of those spots where if Baptiste is a good pick at low ranks, that means he's ungodly overpowered at GM+, like unbelievably overpowered. And if Baptiste is balanced at GM+, then he's probably going to suck really bad at like silver, gold, platinum. And that's just how it's got to be. That's just how the game is, unfortunately, because of the differences in skill gaps. Immortality Field now protects teammates to a minimum health threshold of 10% maximum health, down from 20%, which I think is a good change. Because what would happen is Baptiste would throw the Immortality Field around the corner, and the team could stand there and shoot in it, or however, you use it in multiple situations, more than that. Whatever situation you use it in, once it's over, most people would still have 20% is still enough health to where you got to take them down still, especially tanks. But 10% makes more sense. It's more of like a just save your life ability, not like keep you ready to fight. So instead, it's like the 10% makes it so, okay, I saved your life, but you gotta do something because you can't just stand in there because the second this is gone, you're basically already dead. You'll just fall over when someone breathes on you. It's literally just a life save ability, not just keep the team fight going for every ability. So necessary change. Immortality Field is the most powerful ability in the entire game, hands down. It's not even close. It's literally like as powerful as old Mercy 5-man res by just using ability on a 30-second cooldown. It's basically that powerful. Not quite that powerful, but it's in that direction. It's insane. Anyone GM Plus will tell you this ability is the strongest ability in the game, or if not, the strongest, second strongest, something like that. So Diva, so the thing with Diva is that GM Plus lately, she hasn't been the best pick, mainly because the meta has been to have, so the situation is BAP is OP at high ranks before this change, and so you have to run BAP. And then people realize that Lucio synergized well with BAP, and if you use Lucio, then Reinhardt's more effective, and Zarya is more effective, and Baptiste goes good with Ryan Zarya because it helps you to death ball, so then he can use his explosion healing, and then those 4 heroes combo, and then you just tack on whatever DPS work with that. But those 4 form a base that makes a really good meta right now. And it really revolves around Baptiste being OP. And because Baptiste is because Baptiste is OP, it's what can you combo with him. And it wasn't that Diva's like can't, like not that Diva sucked, but it was just that because Baptiste was so good, you had to find things to combo with Baptiste. And Diva's not a good thing to combo with Baptiste because she's always flying around and stuff. She's not death balling, and Baptiste prefers a death ball. Again, it just all revolved in GM Plus around death ball with Baptiste. That's why the things are played the way they are if you watch like the high level streamers and stuff. But as for lower ranks, it won't matter, but it's definitely a good change because it'll definitely add comedy to your games, which is never a bad thing. I mean, because at lower ranks, if this happens, it's very rare that you'll intentionally do this at a lower rank. You know, you'll just be playing Diva, you'll call mech, and you'll get a triple kill suddenly, and you're like, what? And then you go watch the replay, and you're gonna have a good time laughing about it, whatever. That's fine. That'll be fun. That's a good thing. I'm sure Diva's already played a decent amount at low ranks. At low ranks, there's no one-size-fits-all meta. At low ranks, there's just this character is insanely overpowered because he has to be, or else he'll be insanely overpowered at high ranks and in Overwatch League. So Diva's probably fine at low ranks. You probably won't even, this doesn't change pretty much anything for you. And at high ranks, it really doesn't change that much either. It just very, very slightly makes you more likely to play Diva, but it really comes down to the Baptiste change to even see Diva now. But you'll be seeing Diva now a lot just because Baptiste is gone. Unless a new meta forms that doesn't include Diva, and people will always stick to the meta. So Echo, duplicate ability ends. So now she has more health when she... Actually, I don't know what it was before, to be honest with you. I never kept up with Echo, but I'm not 100% on Echo, but she used to be the most overpowered character in the entire game like a patch or two ago, I'm pretty sure. So I'm not really sure what changed there, or if it still was. I haven't really kept up with that too much. But, I mean, it makes sense for the Echo player, just because it probably feels really bad to duplicate when you're, like, low HP, and then you run around for 15 seconds, and you come out, and you die to a Mercy one-shot or something, just random damage coming across the map. So that feels good for the Echo. Whether or not it makes her OP, it's not really going to change much about her being OP. The main thing that makes Echo OP at high ranks is just the sheer amount of burst damage that she can do, combined with high mobility and ability to fly. She's probably insanely overpowered at low ranks if someone can play her right, just because any flying character will always excel at lower ranks because people can't aim as well. So they'll be like, oh, Echo's owning, I'll go McCree, but that doesn't mean you're going to hit her. Same thing goes for Pharah. Pharah's the same issue, where Pharah sucks at GM Plus most of the time. You almost never see her. But at low ranks, if you're in like Platinum and someone's good at Pharah, you're going to feel it. You're going to be like, Pharah's the most OP thing in the game. I hate it so much. But they can't buff her, or like they can't be like, okay, they can't nerf that, because then it's like as soon as you hit high diamond, it's the biggest throw pick in the game. And if you like playing that character, just can't play it now. It's just, so it's a tough game to balance between low and high ranks. So Echo's in one of those spots too. I don't know. Echo's just OP, honestly, but I'm not sure where she is right now in the meta. I haven't really kept up super well in the last 2-3 weeks. Moira. Now, Moira is one that I really want to talk about here. So, Moira, they're trying to bring her back. So, here's what happened to Moira. First off, Moira has always been overpowered as hell at low ranks. If you've ever joined an Overwatch group on Facebook or in Discord or something, whenever there's people who are from, bronze to diamond, you will see so many memes posted about DPS Moiras, or Moira's OP, or Moira's broken, Moira this, Moira that. It's the most controversial character in the entire game at low ranks. And the reason for this is because, for one, at low ranks, you get a lot of people who are just playing DPS Moira. They just want to play DPS, but they don't want a long queue, so they queue support and play DPS Moira, and that pisses people off. The other thing that you'll see at low ranks is Moira is good because it doesn't take as much aim to get a baseline of healing. So you can just throw a healing orb in a direction and you'll get some good healing. You throw a damage orb in a direction, you can get some alt charge. You get your alt, it has a big AoE, so it's not hard to get something with it. So it's just like there's a baseline value with Moira that you're no matter what going to get by just throwing orbs and using the alt. Now, Moira, people will say, doesn't use aim. But if you ever had a Genji try to double jump over back and forth over your head while you're trying to heal him, you realize you're going to waste tons of resources to not get your full healing from it. So it's not always exactly how people think. But what happened to Moira was she was OP low ranks, and she was honestly, I don't know what she was like on release. I was around then. I don't remember. But I know for the last 15 seasons, Moira was absolute trash at GM+. If you picked Moira, you'd get reported by everybody in the game because Moira was that troll at GM+. There were only 2 exceptions to that. At the very beginning of GOAT's meta, if you've been around long enough to know what GOAT's meta is, Moira was meta for a few weeks, maybe a month, but it didn't take long for people to realize, wait, what if we just replace Moira with Anna in this group, in this comp? And it was better, and then Moira wasn't played anymore. If you played Moira, now you're getting reported again. Then what happened was they introduced Sigma, and for whatever reason, they did not realize that if you combine Sigma with Erisa for freaking 3,500 HP of shield or whatever it was, with a guy who could instantly replace shields anywhere to cover Erisa's blind spots, that suddenly now you can only play characters that can do things through shields. So during that meta, Moira was meta. And the only reason Moira was meta was nothing to do with Moira being too strong. It was that Moira was pretty much the only support that could provide big healing through shields. So you would throw orbs through the shields, you would heal your teammates before they go through shields, and if you got your ult, that was your chance to push. You could use your ult and you could damage the enemies through shields while your team death balls at them and throws their shields into their faces, just face tanks them, and Moira could get value. Whereas if you're Anna, you literally can't heal. They could throw an Orisa shield in your face, and now you're literally done. You have to run to the fight and get killed trying to get healing off. And then Zenyatta, he couldn't shoot anything because there were all these problems. And it wasn't that Moira was overpowered. It was that Moira was literally the only person who could heal through shields more than 50 HP per second. So Moira was meta then. And then Lucio, so you could just run through them and get right into their face through the shields real fast, catch them off guard. And that was it. But Blizzard never really fully knows what they're doing with patch notes. Anyone who's played the game long enough knows it's just freaking ridiculous, their patching. It's gotten better in recent times, but it's always they never actually understand why things are happening, and they just do it based off numbers. So Moira got nerfed. Her healing got nerfed, and I don't remember. I think her healing generation got nerfed or something like that. Whatever. She got nerfed for Moira. She got nerfed super hard. And then in Double Shield, Moira was not as good. But the problem was at the same time they got rid of Double Shield. At the same time they nerfed Orisa, Sigma, and all that, and reduced it so it wasn't as good. And then Moira wasn't played anymore. But if they would have just reduced Orisa Sigma's overpoweredness, Moira would have never been played in the first place. She was literally only good because of that. So because of all those changes that happened, Moira was just garbage. As soon as Orisa Sigma was not meta, people would play Moira because they're like, oh, she used to be OP, maybe she's still OP. And then after like a few months, people were like, no, Moira just sucks, man. And then now it's like in GM Plus at least. And now if you play Moira in GM Plus, you're just gonna get reported. People like this character, you're literally trolling playing that character. That's what people feel most of the time because now she's really weak. So they're now that they see that like the numbers of that of, oh, Moira's not getting played much, or oh, Moira plays, you're more likely to lose. It's like, we got to give her some kind of buff. So they're gonna give her this kind of buff to make up for that change. Whether or not that'll be enough, we'll get to see. But now you know the history of Moira and why they're even trying to do this. And this is definitely necessary for GM Plus. If you're at lower ranks, it's probably gonna suck because Moira is just OP, just like Reaper's OP at low ranks. But if you make Reaper not OP at low ranks, then in Masters and above, he's going to be absolute garbage. It's just one of those situations of low rank versus high rank, and how do you balance it? And it's just a tough situation. It's just tough. And then I guess they, you have the Overwatch League and there's things like that. And it's like, which one do you prioritize? So I'm not really making an opinion on which one they should or shouldn't, but that's just where they're at. So on to Erisa. That was a big part of Moira. Let's move on though. Erisa. So halt got reduced 8 to 6 seconds. So Erisa's halt used to pull people from really far away and cluster them up. So she could pull people above shields, or she could pull a Reinhardt up and so someone could shatter underneath Reinhardt's shield, or there was a lot of synergies you could do. So they reduced the distance that it halts people, so like how far it can pull them from. And then because of that, she couldn't combo with people anymore. I mean, it used to be, if you played before they changed, it was so oppressive. That thing would pull you from so far, it felt like, and it would just get you killed. I mean, Erisa could just solo people because they'd run away and she could just pull them back into her face, and point blank, Erisa does a tremendous amount of damage. So she would just farm people. It was just crazy. And then also, again, you combo with Roadhog. You could hook above a shield, and then Roadhog could hook him from the shield. Now that's really impossibly hard to do unless you're like an Overwatch League pro. So that's what happened to her. And now because of that, and then they also nerfed the shield because double shield was OP, so they had to just do something to get rid of double shield. But then it turned a situation where double shield happened because Erisa was good, but Sigma was broken overpowered. Now Sigma's shield is a flimsy little thing with a long cooldown, and Sigma's still just decent. He's not great, but he's decent. Whereas Erisa, when they nerfed Erisa to try to get rid of the Sigma-Erisa combo, nerfing Erisa made her go from good to bad. And so now they're trying to see if they can bring her back to decent, like Sigma. I don't know if this will be enough to do that. We'll have to see. But that's what they're trying to change. At low ranks, you're not really going to notice too much just because halt is like, I don't know, the range is so much smaller on it now. It's like annoying, but it's not like before where you really felt annoyed when you got pulled by it. You get pulled like felt like you're getting Roadhog hooked. I mean, it's not that far, but it sure felt like it. Reinhardt. So what happened was they buffed Reinhardt because I don't remember when they buffed Reinhardt. I thought it was to deal with double shield and try to get the double shield meta to go away. Actually, I don't know if it was that. It might have been before they buffed Baptiste. The game was in the best state it had been in like 2 to 3 years. And there were multiple metas people were playing. But then they decided they wanted to play buff Baptiste because during those multiple metas we played, literally none of them included Baptiste. And nobody played Baptiste. So they're like, oh, let's bring Baptiste back up. Then Baptiste was OP, and then it was literally, how can we revolve a meta around Baptiste? Baptiste is so hard to balance. So he just instantly became a god tier pick, and then the whole game started revolving around him. So somewhere during all that, they buffed Reinhardt to try to make the meta different. I just can't remember when they did it. It's been too long. I'm sure someone, if anyone watches, someone will know when it was. But either way, because of that, they're going to try to reduce his health buff because everybody's playing Reinhardt. Honestly, in my opinion, if Lucio and Bap go away as meta picks, especially Lucio, then even if Ryan had 550 health, he wouldn't be meta probably. It's just one of those things where they don't understand why things are happening the way that they are. Now at lower ranks, will you really feel a difference? If you're a Reinhardt main, probably. But it's not going to be like game changing. It's not going to be like, oh, now in my platinum games, I'm a thrower if I play Rein. It's like at lower ranks, there's a lot more of, you can just make something happen if you can just farm your skill level and get better with characters. So it's not going to make much of a difference till you're, Master GM Plus as far as literally black and white, can I or can't I play this character? So you'll still see a lot of Rein probably, unless some meta forms over something else like the Roadhog change. So Roadhog's scrap gun got buffed. So I don't remember how things unfolded with Roadhog, but at some point he either got buffed or nerfed or whatever because Roadhog was OP or not OP. I can't remember. It's been like a year. And so Roadhog has not been meta for a little while. And again, I still feel like this falls back to one of those situations where they don't understand why things are happening the way that they're happening. So Roadhog hasn't been played for a while. And the main reason Roadhog hasn't been played for a while is there was double shield meta where you can't pick Roadhog because why would you pick Roadhog when you can pick Orisa Sigma and it's so overpowered? Then after that, you saw Roadhog for a while. And I think that was when it was. They had Roadhog, and then they had to nerf him because Roadhog, it was ball hog torture was the meta for a little while. And they wanted to get rid of it just because everybody freaking hates ball hog torture, which was pretty funny. And then it was fine. You saw Roadhog a decent amount. And then, but when the game was in a good state for a little while, it was like, you'd see Roadhog in this, Roadhog Erisa, Roadhog something, or you'd see Diva Winston, where it was pretty fun. A lot of diversity. Then they made BAP OP, and you don't see Roadhog anymore because why would you play Roadhog when you can play Rein and Zarya or Rein and Diva, usually Rein Zarya though, with a Lucio BAP. If you can do that, why pick Roadhog? The other ones are just better. They better with the combo. Like the Baptiste is OP, which leads to the Lucio. If you have speed, then Rein Zarya is really good. If Rein Zarya is really good, being backed up by a OP BAP and then speed buff, why give that up for a Roadhog? That's why Roadhog wasn't being played, but they just see the numbers and they go, oh, Roadhog's underperforming, let's buff him, instead of, I don't understand it. So I don't know if it'll make Roadhog OP meta, but he'll definitely be a lot stronger at high ranks. If you're at low ranks, you're really going to hate it because Roadhog is really annoying at low ranks because at lower ranks, people are disorganized and Roadhog thrives on chaos. So when there's a lot of just things going on, people aren't like sticking together real well, Roadhog just picks people off one by one with a hook or a flank and then shooting someone in the back and whatever. And this will just make it easier for him to do that. And at lower ranks, it'll be easier now for a Roadhog to get the one-shot kill combo with the hook, which you'll really feel. And at GM+, the good player should 100% of the time get the one-shot kill combo with the hook, I think. Or close to it. I can't remember where it needs to be to do that. I think that's it, but maybe it needs to be a little bit higher. I don't remember. So that's where Roadhog's at for high and low ranks. That's the situation. That's why this has come to what it's come to and why they're doing what they're doing. So Sombra, they made it so she moves faster while stealthed. Now Sombra, I'm not 100% sure on this. So Sombra is kind of an oddball character in that, maybe somebody out there will understand what I mean when I say Sombra is the most overpowered character and Sombra is the most underpowered trash character at the same time. Does anyone know what I mean? Because Sombra is one of those characters where it's like, sometimes you have a Sombra on your team, and you're like, wow, if we didn't have that Sombra, we would have lost. That Sombra did so much for us. And then, at the same rank, different game, maybe the same player even. You play a game, and you're like, man, that Sombra just fed. That guy just threw. Everyone report him. Sombra sucks, blah, 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 whatever. So, I'm not entirely sure if she needed this or not. I just don't know enough about Sombra. Like, again, it was just one of those things. You see her. Sometimes she's great. Sometimes she's not. At low ranks, I'm not actually sure how Sombra is at low ranks. I almost want to say that Sombra is decent at low ranks, but I feel like even at low ranks, it's the same situation. Like, either Sombra is carrying your brains out, or Sombra is feeding her brains out and useless. I feel like that's universal at all ranks. Like, it depends on the skill level of the Sombra. Now, obviously, if you get a GM Sombra smurfing into a silver game, you're going to go Sombra's most OP character ever, because anyone who's a DPS player who smurfs into that rank is going to, be that good. But even just in your rank, a platinum player is having a good day doing a good Sombra play. The enemy has a certain team comp and it just works. Sombra is going to do good, So, whether or not she needed it, I don't know. I guess they just want to see what happens if they just try to give a small buff, maybe push Sombra to be a little bit more in the meta and play her more. It's really one of those things. We'll have to just wait and see what it'll do. It's not so monumentous that it's going to be like now Sombra's as OP as BAP. BAP was on a whole nother level. BAP was S++ tier, and there's no way this is going to make Sombra S++ tier. But it'll definitely make her play it a little bit more, and people who already play Sombra will perform a little bit better now. So we'll just have to see that one unfolds. I really don't think she'll be the meta, but it'll definitely make her played more. So that's it for the patch notes. That's everything about why these are happening, what the history is of these changes, why they're doing these changes, what they're thinking, what I think they're thinking, and why they're right or why I think they're wrong. A lot of my opinion in this, but I wanted to give you the history so you can form your own opinion about what's going on and why characters are where they are now, why they're changing, what they think versus what actually happened, and you can make your own decisions about whether what I said is actually the truth or whether I what do you call it? Like I'm giving you the history, but I'm not giving a good representation of what that means. So I don't know. That's my opinion on everything. So these are the patch notes. April 22nd, 2021, the April Overwatch patch notes. It should be interesting. Hopefully we can see less of Baptiste now at high ranks. And that's the number one thing more than anything else on this. So I'm going to try to keep doing these patch notes. Whenever there's a big Overwatch patch, I'm going to try to remember to do this just because I love Overwatch. I have a sweet spot in my heart for this game. I still play it from time to time. And I really want to look forward to Overwatch 2, and I really want to just start keeping up with this game more. If this video helped you, consider helping us by subscribing to our channel. Tap this button over here and hit the red subscribe button. Subscriptions help a lot, even if you never watch our videos again. Ha 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 ha!